Live from the Quad Cities with Morgan Otier and Kyle Keel. This is Quad Cities Live.
Today on QCL, prepare yourself for one of the largest antique vendor shows of the year. We're getting details on this weekend's Antique Spectacular Vintage Market. Could this be the year you choose to escape the snow instead of embracing it? Travel with Sarah will join us with details on a snowbird trip to Alabama's Gulf Shores. And if you choose to stick around when those flakes begin to fall, make the best of it with a trip out to Snowstar in Andalusia. We'll learn more about an upcoming open house and winter gear sale happening this weekend. You're watching Quad Cities Live, and that's where we begin on this Tuesday, October 29th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Morgan Otier. Kyle is off. Well, we are seeing near record temperatures, if not breaking records. We'll have to ask Eric across the QCA today. Highs in the 80s. There's no snow on the ground, of course, but we all know it's coming. It'll be here. Rod Leatherman is joining us now from Snowstar in Andalusia. Rod, thanks for being with us today.
Well, of course, thank you for having us again.
Yes, of course. It's one of our annual meetings where we get to have Snowstar on the show. So for anybody who's never been out to Snowstar, describe the place for us.
Well, we're located off Andalusia Road there, 92, in Andalusia, Illinois. We have 75 acres, 37 acres are skiable. We have all different types of terrain. We have snowboarding, skiing, as well as a tube hill.
The Tube Hill. I gotta say, it's like the most fun thing ever. It's a really cool space, and we were just talking about this before the show started. It's very family friendly. There's just a lot for everybody. If you're not somebody who is like skiing at the moment, there's like fire pits going, there's refreshments. I mean, there's something for
Exactly, and you don't need to have a certain skill level or anything like that. You just need to know how to sit in the tube, bring your gloves and your coat, and you're good to go.
And you're off to the races. Also, the lodge itself, you guys have done a lot of really cool things with the lodge. It's even a potential event venue. So just reminding people that that is an option.
Just had a wedding out there 2 weeks ago, and it's a beautiful area, especially this time of year, obviously, with the leaves
with all the
and so
leaves
forth.
changing and the views. Okay, so, well, there's no better time to prepare for ski season than right now, when it's nice and warm and you're looking forward to all of that. And we can do it this weekend. You are holding an open house and a ski swap.
So we were just talking about the tube hill, not having to have gear. Well, I also have gear for those who want to ski or snowboard. It's a great chance to pick up good material, good equipment at a real nice price. It's put on by Fleetfoot in Dubuque, Iowa, and they bring down a bunch of gear, and then also people like myself who have too much gear accumulated over the years, we can sell ours out there too. So.
You can. Okay, so it's a sale, but there's also a swap component.
Right.
So the sale itself, is this like new stuff that's been just deeply discounted?
Yeah, exactly. What most of it is, to be honest, is like last year's material.
Okay.
The technology hasn't changed, just maybe the graphics on the top sheet and so forth.
Really?
So most of that's brand new material, never been used. Some of it now you can also find some, like I say, lightly used material and so forth that you can buy.
Which is great, especially if you're like somebody who's a beginner and you're just you're not sure.
It is an expensive sport, and some of that gear can get very expensive. So this is a nice way to put your toe in the water and see if you like it and so forth. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kinds of things can we be picking up there? I mean, obviously you can find a pair of skis.
If it has something to do with the hill, you can probably get it there. So we got the skis, the snowboards, the gloves, the hats, the helmets, coats, so just about everything that you'll need to enjoy the sport. Okay,
great. And then the swap component, which you already mentioned. So if somebody has gear that they want to bring, is this something that they're trying to get rid of? Are they trading it?
So what it is, like myself, I've updated to some new gear. Now you got the old gear laying around, so you can bring it out there if you check in at 8:30 in the morning right before it starts. Come out, check it in, and you can have a chance to sell your gear to someone else.
Awesome. Okay, so a great option. So if you're somebody who, you've really invested in your gear over the years and you are a skier or a snowboarder, this is a really good opportunity to kind of stay off the internet marketplace and go.
Get a chance to try it on and see it in person and so forth.
That's great. So beyond the gear sale and the swap, the open house is really kind of a little bit of a party for people.
So so this year we're going to add that component to to it. We, in the past, we kind of kept it business-like. So now we want people to actually come out and see what we have to offer.
Yeah.
Come out and see our lodge. Like you say, we've done some updates and so forth. So we're going to have some food and beverage and, give people a chance to walk around, see the fall colors and so forth. If we can get a lift going, we might even do that too.
Oh, that would be really fun. And potentially some special promotions available.
Yes, we also in our pro shop, we have some stuff that we need to get rid of to make room for next year's stuff. So we'll have some great discounts there, as well as, I don't know that I'm supposed to say it, but as well as season pass. We might go back to that special introductory price.
Oh, wow.
As a hint, yeah. So if you didn't get that pass, this would be a great chance to do it
I love
again.
when you come on the show and you say, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. That's always the best part. We do have, so you can get a season pass there, regardless of what the discount is. This is a good opportunity for you to do that, because along with having the season pass for Snowstar, it also gets you some discounts at other ski resorts.
That's a great deal about it, is that, our pass gets more and more value each year because we add what we call reciprocating hills.
That's awesome.
That you can go somewhere else and ski for either free or a discounted price.
That's amazing.
When I also see on the screen there that Indy Pass, that's a new thing that we are part of that, and that's got some great deals in it also.
The Indy Pass.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a good opportunity. Let's say you live, closer to the QC Metro and Snowstar is really going to be your home spot to ski, but if you decide to spend a weekend up at Chestnut or something like that.
Sundown or Tyrol Basin, some of the local ones. Sure.
That's great. Okay, so before we let you go, Snowstar is also hiring. This is a really good opportunity.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, we have a couple days coming up in the following week where we are having our job fair. We're looking for all types of jobs, indoor jobs, outdoor jobs, management jobs, labor type jobs. So I'm hiring just about everything. So if you're looking for seasonal work, please come on out. I might even have some year-round jobs also available.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, seasonal work is great, especially if you're someone who's younger and, either in high school or in college and you're coming home for a little bit. This is a great opportunity. So lots of different jobs. This is a good time to just go ask questions and see if that's something that
you'll get to see, again, you'll get to see that, like you say, see if you like it. You'll get to see the lodge, where you'd be working, who you'd be working with, meet some of the other managers and so forth. So.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like a really fun weekend ahead and some weeks ahead. If you want to learn more about activities at Snowstar, any upcoming events, they host some events there throughout the year, tickets or equipment rental, just visit them on the web. Visit skisnowstar.com. That's the web there at the bottom of your screen. Rod, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me again.
We appreciate it. Many of us live in the Midwest because we enjoy all 4 seasons, but sometimes the snow and bitter cold of the winter months makes us want to escape somewhere just a little bit more comfortable. Joining us now is Sarah Broers, a travel writer with an online blog and 2 published books about travel in Iowa. Sarah, welcome back.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Lots of fun stuff to talk about with Sarah. So first, though, let's talk about your website, Travel with Sarah. There is so much that we can find there.
Yeah, I like to go where the plane, train, ship, or car will go.
I love it.
And I have, just recently dipped my feet into traveling with grandchildren.
Okay.
So that's been fun as well.
Yes.
But we've become snowbirds in the winter, my husband and I have, so it's exciting.
Yes, very exciting. Now, before we get to that, I don't want people to think that there is not, if you've never met Sarah or seen her on the show before, there is a lot of love for the home state of Iowa. If you didn't know that, she's written 2 books about traveling in Iowa. So talk a little bit about those books.
Perfect Day Iowa and 100 Things to Do in Iowa Before You Die.
Yes.
And I will keep you in the state of Iowa. I love my home state, and we have a lot of things to see and do, but I will challenge everyone to look outside their back door because there's something there that I've always said, I'm going to go do that. Oh, I'll wait.
And
guess what? Tomorrow never comes.
Yes, you are so right.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now. And in Iowa, my hometown is Mason City. We have the historic Park Inn Hotel.
Yes, you do.
The last known hotel in the world designed by Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah.
Wrap your head around that.
It's beautiful. I've been there, actually. I've not been to Alabama, which is what we're going to be talking about today, but I just wanted everyone to know really the insight that you provide, not only in your home state, but she travels all over the place, and you can learn a lot about what to do.
The Midwest, I spend a lot of time in the Midwest as the co-owner of the Midwest Travel Network.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so snowbirding. First, talk about what snowbirding is.
So snowbirding is we all live in Iowa. It gets cold, and snowbirds go south for the winter.
Yep.
But you will learn if you go to Texas, they're not called snowbirds in Texas.
Oh.
They're called winter Texans.
Okay.
If you're in Texas and you say I'm a snowbird, the winter Texans will correct you immediately.
Interesting. Everyone's got their little
Yes,
thing, I guess.
yeah.
Well, I've heard about it before. I mean, a lot of people travel to Florida. I think they call themselves snowbirds.
Yes,
I'm not
they
sure.
do. They do.
Texas, another one. But a potentially overlooked spot is Alabama.
It is an overlooked spot because a lot of times people think if they're going to be a snowbird, they have to go to Florida.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, Florida's a great place, a lot of fun things to see and do, but Alabama is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's not quite as far south as Florida, and it's closer to Iowa, so your travel is maybe not as far.
A little bit less, yeah.
But the climate is 70s.
So
It could be
comfortable.
45 to 85.
Yeah.
I know you have a picture of me with a winter coat on, birding.
Yes.
And I was thinking of that today, and it was actually a cool day, and I was not cold. I
Right.
had my winter coat along because that's what we Iowans do.
Yes, we do. Oh, there you are. Yes.
Yes, birding. It's a fantastic place for birding. That is the Jeff Friend Trail.
Okay.
That happens to be a mile trail, which is handicap accessible.
Wow.
And you can continue on it further, but the birding there is spectacular, and any time of year.
Yeah, I mean, well, because the birds fly south for the winter, don't they? So talk a little bit about what makes the Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, we should mention.
Yes,
'cause
Gulf
you've
Shores
been
and Orange Beach are right together
Okay.
along the coast, and it's really that whole area. And my husband and I have wintered down there this will be our third winter.
Oh, wow.
And I tell people, start out, do it a week or two.
Right.
And we will be there for a month this coming year.
Congrats, that's awesome.
And it is. It's really fun, but you can do as much or as little as you want. You can pickleball.
Oh,
now this
yeah.
happens to be the pickleball courts in Gulf Shores, which are public courts.
Oh,
now
nice.
a lot of the resorts do have pickleball courts, but what I love about pickleball, I didn't know these. My husband and I didn't know these ladies.
You made friends.
We were playing pickleball, and they said, can we play with you? And we said, sure. But the one thing, we're not pickleball experts by any means.
No.
But we don't know the rules. And we learned really fast that everybody has different rules when they play pickleball.
Why does that not surprise me? It is really picking up steam, though, that pickleball.
Oh, it's
People love
everywhere.
it. It's fun.
It's everywhere. So if you're going to Gulf Shores and Orange Beach for the winter, get some pickleball paddles if you don't have them,
Right.
and take them with you.
Okay, great. So let's talk about some of the other really, really great things about visiting Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. The food scene.
The
You
food
talked
scene
about
is
that.
fantastic. Now, I travel for bread pudding.
Okay.
And actually, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach is where I was introduced to the bread pudding scene.
Oh, look at
Probably
that.
about 8-9 years ago. Incredible bread pudding. And that happens
Wow.
to be at the restaurant that is at the Beach Club in Fort Morgan, right outside of Gulf Shores, right in that whole area there. But that is right there in the restaurant there.
Oh, it looks
bread
delightful.
pudding, it's delicious.
And seafood.
Seafood,
I'm a
you
seafood
can't
gal.
go wrong with that either.
Yeah.
And there's not a bad restaurant to be found. Dining on the water.
Okay.
You have your choice of about anywhere you'd want to go. Burgers, you can't find a bad burger anywhere you go. I mean, just
Wow.
really good food. But you can, when you're in your unit where there's
Ooh.
condos. Yeah, Sunliner Diner. Now this is fun. This is a 50s diner.
I was going to say, look at
Yes,
that.
a 50s diner. So you've got all your shakes, milkshakes, and inside there's actually a car you can sit in as well
Oh,
to eat.
cool.
So that's a fun little restaurant down
That
there.
is great. And one of the most important things, I think, is the views, the beaches. I mean, we're talking about Gulf Shores, we're
Yes.
talking about Orange Beach. This is not anything that we're going to get by sticking around here.
No. 32 miles of pristine beaches.
Oh, wow.
Sunset's gorgeous.
Look at
Sunrise and
that.
sunset are gorgeous this time of year because the sun's right in the south, and all the condo units are looking right over there. It's fantastic. But you can be as busy or as relaxed as you want.
I love to hear that.
That's what I love about it. And the USS Alabama is right over in Mobile.
Okay.
And that's a short drive from
And that's
Gulf
how you
Shores.
say it, Mobile.
And I may say it wrong.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I'm like, you know what? Whenever I've seen it on a map, I'm like, Mobile, Alabama. I have no idea. So plenty of history
Nobody
there.
has corrected me yet, so maybe it is right.
I think you're right then. So lots of history, as you talked about with Fort Morgan and USS Alabama
Yes.
being there, amazing. One thing I think is very cool that you're doing when you're there is you're going to be telling people about Iowa.
I am. So I am doing programming with Spectrum Resorts at Turquoise Place and the Beach Club. I'm doing a program we're doing Midwest trivia, Iowa
love
trivia,
that.
and day trips from Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. And the other one, online safety. So we're going to be talking about an array of things. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to share Iowa and the Midwest with all the people that are snowbirding down along the Alabama coast. They do have a couple festivals that are really good too if you're into seafood.
Yes.
So Orange Beach has a seafood festival which is tied in with a car show.
Okay.
And then Fort Morgan has a oyster seafood festival.
Oh, perfect.
So there's a
Yeah.
couple festivals. And then Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is fantastic too. I didn't know a lot about Mardi Gras, but I was actually in the parade one year.
Yeah.
Fantastic, incredible views. But we like to ride our bikes down to the parade route and just participate in it from there. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, a great option, and I think my favorite part about it too is that it's kind of like a trade. Like you're going there and spending time and spending money and you know, tourism dollars for this community, and I think you're going to bring a ton of people that are visiting back to the state of Iowa, and they're going to realize what a great state.
Yeah.
You know,
I love
Iowa
sharing
is
what we
as well.
have here.
I love it too. It's amazing. Well, if you want to read more about Sarah's travels from Iowa to Alabama and places in between, visit her website. It's on your screen now. It is travelwithsarah.com. Nice and easy to remember. Sarah, thank you for coming on the show today, and we'll be looking forward to having you back and just
Yeah, it was
hearing
fun.
all about your winter.
It was fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Flu season is upon us, and if you're planning to get your flu shot, local health experts say now is really a good time to schedule those vaccinations. Dr. Manpreet Kalan is a Hy-Vee pharmacist and is joining us now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we're talking about vaccinations today. Vaccinations, essentially, they're there to help protect us from serious illness every
Correct.
year. Okay, so why is it important to get a flu shot every year?
Every year, it's important to get a flu shot every year because the flu virus, it mutates or changes. So each year, the flu vaccine, it's updated to contain the most common strains expected during the flu season.
Okay, so when you talk about that and they talk about different strains, and I know we've had years where they're like, okay, the actual flu that everybody seems to be getting is actually not the strain that they made the flu shot out of because, you know, they predicted maybe something different. So why is that still a reason to get your flu shot?
It still can decrease the severity and other complications associated with the virus, so there's still benefit, even though it may not be 100% effective at preventing the vaccine.
Yeah, so essentially, regardless of if that's the mutation or whatever you want to call it of the flu that year, getting a flu shot essentially is going to have some protections. So maybe you got the flu and it was kind of a bummer and it didn't really feel that great, but hey, it could have been a whole lot worse.
Much worse,
had you
correct.
not gotten that flu shot. Okay, that makes sense. So when is the best time to get a flu shot?
Now's the perfect time to get the flu vaccine. Flu typically peaks in December through February.
Okay.
So one would want to get the vaccine well before then to be fully protected.
Okay. We hear this a lot. So people don't want to get the flu shot, or they say when they have gotten the flu shot that they end up getting the flu. I've always heard that that is a myth to an extent. Kind of explain that for people.
Yes. So you cannot get the flu from the flu vaccine. The flu vaccine contains inactivated or killed virus. So once again, you can't get the flu from the flu vaccine. There is a small number of patients that develop flu-like symptoms after getting the vaccine, and it's just the body's normal response in building immunity.
Okay, so that would just be just like maybe a little bit of a headache or a slight fever?
Fever, short-lived though, and it's typically mild in comparison to what the actual flu is.
Okay, so the flu vaccine, that is a myth. It's not there to give you the flu. And if you end up getting the flu, like I've seen this before, right around the time that you get the vaccine, like you could have already been
Correct.
like getting it.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. So side effects are possible with flu shots, as you just mentioned, but typically it's a small number of people and pretty slight side effects.
Slight side effects.
Okay, so let's talk about the COVID-19 vaccine, of course. Very controversial for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, but we want everyone to have the information out there. There's updated COVID vaccine available. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so many people will ask, should I get the COVID vaccine if I've had a previous COVID illness or previous COVID vaccines? And the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
So the updated COVID vaccine is better able to target the current strains of COVID. So the best protection is provided by getting the updated COVID vaccine.
Okay, so it's kind of similar to the flu in that way because we'd seen it within the first, few years since COVID that it mutates.
Correct.
So even if you've had COVID before or you've had the vaccine before, this is like a flu shot. I mean, it's constantly being redeveloped
Correct.
to help people out. Okay, so you would suggest that people get the COVID vaccine?
Correct, yep.
Okay, so as a pharmacist, is that something that you are seeing people come in with a lot more?
A large number of people are coming in to get both their flu and COVID vaccines currently.
What about people that are sick with it? I know it's not quite like peak flu season, as you mentioned, that really kind of hits in December through February, but I do feel like we have seen more and more people getting COVID
Correct.
this fall, since
Correct.
school started, essentially.
Definitely have seen that.
It's something that you see as a
Yes.
pharmacist all the time. Okay. So people that are getting the vaccine. So for instance, I'm at my doctor's office and they offer, you know, do you want to get your flu shot today? Oh, and do you want to get your COVID shot today? Should we be getting those at the same time? Is there any risk at getting those vaccines at the same time?
That's one of the most common questions we get asked in the pharmacy. And to answer your question, yes, you can get them at the same time.
Okay.
In fact, the CDC actually supports co-administration, so patients are fully protected without delaying vaccinations.
Okay, so they don't have like any effect on each other?
No. Nope.
Okay. And as far as symptoms from the COVID vaccine, those can be a little bit worse than the flu vaccine?
They may be, but typically most of the patients that I've administered to have no complaints
No
after
complaints.
The vaccines.
Okay, interesting. It's just good to know because I think, you know, when you're talking about vaccines and stuff, that's like a fear a lot of people have. They're like, is this going to put me out of commission for the next 24 or 48 hours? Am I going to have to call in sick to my job or anything like that? But, you know, you're saying a very few number of people really do feel like that.
Correct. Very few.
Okay. So we don't need to make a trip to our doctor's office either. That was an example that I gave. People can actually get their vaccinations at their local Hy-Vee pharmacy, correct?
Yes, we offer a convenient way to sign up online at Hy-Vee.com, and we also accept walk-ins without any appointment.
Oh, wow.
And for anybody that gets their flu vaccine, we offer a 20-cent Hy-Vee Fuel Saver reward.
Oh, we love the Fuel Saver reward. Absolutely. Okay, and this is good because if you're out and about and you're like, well, I did not make that appointment, there's a potential that, you know what, if you guys aren't crazy busy at that moment, that you can just walk in and get that vaccine.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, well, if you want to learn more about Hy-Vee's pharmacy services, you want to schedule that vaccination appointment, visit the website there on your screen, Hy-Vee.com/healthnew. You can just register right there, put your name in and all of that. Thank you so much for joining us today. Lots of good information.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Thank you. The holidays typically bring people together, offering a lot of happiness and joy. But for those suffering a loss, it feels quite the opposite. It can be very difficult to navigate through that grief during Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas traditions. Jackie Hauer is a certified end-of-life doula, and she is back with us today. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
So there is actually a workshop coming up this weekend. It is called Surviving Grief Through the Holidays. Talk a little bit about the idea to host this workshop and why you think it's so important.
Well, I am partnering obviously with Jill Finn. She is a certified grief educator here in the Quad City community. And we just felt this time of year with the holidays coming up just around the corner, it tends to bring up a lot for people. If you've lost someone you love or anticipating that loss, this is an opportunity to join your community and, you know, talk about your beliefs around grief and your experiences around grief and maybe get some tools and tricks to kind of help navigate.
A little bit of guidance along with it and just kind of a safe place to talk about it with probably a lot of other people feeling the same things. So you, for folks who haven't seen you on the show before, you are becoming certified as an end-of-life doula. So talk a little bit about what that is, because you regularly work with people dealing with grief or people that are anticipating on dealing with grief.
So I finished my certification this year through an ELDA, and part of my private practice is working with people in their grief, either after they've lost somebody that they love, or if they are diagnosed with a specific illness, working with them and talking with them, you know, processing that grief as well, like learning, you know, losing a part of themselves or a piece of themselves maybe that they weren't expected. So
Yeah, and I think that's important, and I'm glad that you mentioned that as well, because when we think of grief, and when we think of grief in other people, I feel like we think of, you know, we have lost somebody that is important to us, whether it's a friend or a family member or someone, but that can be, you could be grieving for yourself as well. I mean, if you've been diagnosed with something difficult, you know, I think that that's a whole different type of grief, and that could mean a whole different host of things that you're dealing with on a time when everybody is, you know, trying to be joyous and happy. And it can be very hard to be that person.
Yes. And I think it's important to remember that, you know, nobody's grieving is the same. And we need to give ourselves permission to grieve, because it's really important that we allow ourselves to be open to what we're experiencing, whatever that is. And I think this will give people an opportunity to come together and know they're not alone. And also maybe express a few things, you know, share if they'd like, and, you know, learn some ways to maybe take better care of themselves, or ideas to honor themselves or their loved ones during the holiday season.
Yeah. Okay, so you spoke about Jill, who you're partnering with for this workshop coming up this weekend, and that she is a grief educator. I know you are not Jill, but talk a little bit about what, you know, the types of things that she's going to be able to offer these people.
Sure. So Jill is a certified grief educator, which I'm pretty sure she's the only one here locally. Now, we're not therapists or counselors, obviously. So grief educators, what they do, what we do is provide support, resources for families, those affected by grief, those anticipating grief. And we also provide, you know, emotional support too as well. It's not as in-depth as it would be for in therapy or counseling, but there is space for that as well. So she will bring, you know, she has tons of experience. She's a hospice volunteer, and she is also, like I said, certified. So she brings a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience with her to this workshop.
A lot of things to discover that, you know, you may not have even thought of before. And especially with talking with other folks as well, dealing with grief, there might be things that they say that are kind of like eye-opening light bulb moments for you. So just bringing these people together is huge. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, you know, what people can learn through the workshop on Saturday, because there's some examples on the website. So tools to help you move with your grief and loss. I like how that was written, because it doesn't say move on or move past. You know, it's a way to be in the moment, but still be with that.
Yes, exactly. So we'll be providing different like concentration focus exercises to kind of help when we grieve. Our brain gets super foggy. We're kind of walking around in this other world, if you will, one foot in this living experience and then one, you know, outside of it. So we'll learn to, we'll provide information about different types of grief, and also, you know, just some resources that might give them a better understanding of what they're experiencing and the ability to kind of put into words and help themselves cope with what they're experiencing.
Exactly. And one other thing, ways to memorialize your loss or honor grief. I think especially if this is something fresh for you, maybe it is a new tradition that you start for the Christmas holiday for that loved one that can no longer be there. You know, there's different ways to kind of express that. So I think it sounds great. And you're going to be hosting another one in December, which once we get there, we'll get some more information on that. But for now, the Surviving Grief During the Holidays is this Saturday, November 2nd, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It's at the Moline Public Library. It is free to attend, but you are encouraged to register ahead of time, and you can do that by heading to molinelibrary.com/events. Pretty easy to do, and of course, follow Jackie on social media. Wanderings of Jackie is your handle, because you host all kinds of you know, helpful things like this beyond this. So really interesting stuff. Yes, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, always. Well, this weekend, the Antique Spectacular Vintage Market is marking 30 years. Vendor space is sold out. It is sure to be a show you don't want to miss. And here with a preview of all the fun is Michelle During, owner of Vintage Rose. Michelle, thank you for being here today.
It's our pleasure. Thank
you. Of course. Well, we're already having a ton of fun looking at everything that Michelle brought. This is really like an annual treasure hunt.
It is. I've been looking at all the years that I've been selling and as a dealer setting up, but also as a collector and admirer, and how this show is always fun because you never know what you're going to find.
Yeah.
The unexpected, from Christmas ornaments to a comic book that you've been looking for.
Oh, wow.
That vintage or retro 1950s look that you want for your kitchen. That runs the whole gamut of dealers.
Yeah.
And pottery, especially lamps.
Look at that.
Pottery. They just have wonderful dealers that are dealing in really
yeah.
good quality items.
Look at all that. I mean, tell us a little bit too, because you've been doing this for so many years, about the thrill of vintage shopping and antique shopping, and because I really feel like people kind of get sucked into that after finding a few of those just perfect items.
I think different people are drawn to different eras for different reasons. Some of it might be trying to find your childhood, so it's really fun because you'll find some of the vintage toys from your childhood at the show, and it will be really, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. So Gumby and Pokey are my kind of weakness.
I love that.
And so when I find those, it's like, oh no. But there's a lot of items. The other thing that, for me, that draws it, Vintage Rose is my great-grandmother, and she loved jewelry. And I am a Victorian girl at heart, and that's what I'm drawn to. And so when I find a beautiful piece of Victorian jewelry, I'm like, oh my gosh. I also love the Edwardian and Deco as well.
Yes, you do. I do want to talk about some of the items that you personally brought from your shop here today, and some of the items that you've collected. So even starting over here, did you say this is from the 70s?
That's 1976. It was made for the bicentennial. It's signed. It has a wonderful artist remark on it. And normally the beads on a squash blossom are bench beads. Those beads are all hand stamped and all made by the artist.
And those are all these beads here, right?
And, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And that is just a stunning, stunning piece of artistry. This piece right here is a new piece. He's Warren Nieto. He is Santo Domingo, Pueblo, and he just made those, and he's sending us some more pieces this week.
That's beautiful.
But we're really excited to be able to present an up-and-coming artist.
Yeah, but this style is really in right now, that kind of Southwestern.
And they cut their own beads, and they cut everything. Typically, they don't set theirs in sterling.
Okay.
Santo Domingo, the Pueblos don't.
Okay, interesting. We can't get enough of these
They've bought a
bags.
lot of beaded handbags. They are exquisite,
Yes,
absolutely
they are.
gorgeous. This is a later one, but it's in steel beads, and so it's quite heavy.
It's beautiful.
But look at this, the fringe on there is just exquisite.
It is. I mean, it's like we're getting a nice up-close look right now, so
it's
that people
just
can see what we're talking about. It is really pretty. And I don't know if it's just me and like my kind of style, but I just think all of this stuff is really in right now. Like
It's
all
gorgeous.
the beading and everything. I mean, I love it absolutely.
The beading is beautiful, and you can frame this. Now, this one doesn't have, this is an older piece, and it doesn't have the metal chain.
Right.
But look, you could frame it, and it's absolutely exquisite.
Oh, the rings. Owen was just giving us a really good shot of the rings.
Yes.
I already tried the emerald and the ruby on before we started the segment. I can attest they're gorgeous. They're about a size 7. They're really, really pretty, though.
Pretty. And so these are what we call in modern estate jewelry.
Okay.
The emerald is 1950s. So.
Oh, it's beautiful.
This is a 19-teens platinum and diamond ring.
Wow.
And it's exquisite. Your 1920s. This is a 1920s. Yeah, that one's a fun one.
This one is stunning. I'm going to put it back down so he can see it.
And so 1920s, it might be, leaned over a little bit.
There we go.
And it's in the beautiful filigree. It's an old European carat diamond.
Oh my gosh.
Cut diamond, and they're exquisite. So you have your early 1900s,
That
and
one.
then
I want this one right here as he's focusing on. That's
one
the
is
one that she
gorgeous.
wants right there. Yeah, this is all what people can find at Vintage
they
Rose.
can find all of this at Vintage Rose.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
brought cameos. Here is a Persian turquoise cameo, which is just huge.
Yeah,
you
the
don't find
artistry
them.
on that is amazing.
It's beautiful. And this is a sash belt from the late 1800s.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Well, we have about a minute left.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we got to take a look at all of the items that you're going to have, plus much more, I'm assuming.
Yes.
There are going to be like roughly 70 vendors there, everything you could possibly imagine. Do you really feel like antique shopping and vintage shopping is making a resurgence?
I think people are, yes. Yes.
I think that there's always been an interest there, but for some reason, I think we're really trying to harken back to, you know.
I think we're redefining as time goes on. We redefine what antiques are.
Yeah.
So antiques, we're laughing because we're going, oh well, this is 70 years old,
Yeah.
and anyway, it's vintage now. So we're like, and we want our childhood. We're 29, so 50-year-old toys.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be such an amazing weekend. We've got the dates at the bottom of your screen, Friday through Sunday, QCCA Expo Center. There is the website where you can get a discounted ticket. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show
Thank you
today.
for having
really
me.
appreciate you. Coming up tomorrow on Quad Cities Live, the Putnam Museum will be here with a preview of upcoming events, including a movie on the giant screen on Halloween night and the annual Polar Express Pajama Party, plus details on an opportunity to travel with TV6's Sharon DeReek on her upcoming holiday vacations tour of Italy. We're getting a closer look at what to expect on this once-in-a-lifetime trip. That and much more tomorrow on QCL.